Hello and welcome back to AJAYU Transitorio, an online digital festival. Don't worry if you've missed any of the videos we've been showing previously. They are all available on Facebook and YouTube, and you can find the links below. Now, the next segment I'm very excited about. We've been working in collaboration with a food artist, Cherry, and in the lead up to this festival, she sent us these offerings. So I'd like to show you one of them. So this is a jar of pickled ash keys. The ash tree is one of the most common trees in the UK. In 2012, the ash dieback was first discovered in England. It was widely accepted to be untreatable and could see the demise of 90 to 98% of these trees over the next decade. The scale of the ecological impact caused by the disease is yet unmeasured. We are watching the slow death of a whole swathe of English landscape, the English landscape that a lot of us grew up in. So Cherry says she doesn't know what she hoped to achieve by pickling these keys. They are edible, but tough to chew. Sometimes we just want to fix something at a moment in time. So I'd like to take you over to our food artist, Cherry, and let's see what she's doing in the kitchen. Thank you.
The British cookery writer Jane Grigson famously said that food has the tact to disappear, leaving the room and opportunity for masterpieces to come. She recognised its temporality, its ephemerality, as central to its pleasure. It's a memory that can be repeated, reiterated, altered, reconstructed, reimagined, rediscovered, and lose nothing in the process. In the hours after Jane's death, her family made an extraordinary discovery, a gift from beyond the veil. We were sitting around shell-shocked, said her daughter Sophie, but then I found a Murrumbidgee cake in her larder, a beautiful thing, rich, dense, a favourite of hers. I cut slices of it and we ate them, and it was wonderful, her last gift to us. Take 2 cups of something that brings you uplifting memories and place them in a saucepan. Place the saucepan on a medium heat. Murrumbidgee cake, a boozy confection of crystallised fruit and nuts, popular in Britain until the 1980s, takes its name from an Australian river and a long colonial history of appropriating names and ingredients from around the world and claiming them as our own. Memories aren't always pretty. Add half a cup or a cup of a sauce or a liquid that soothes the soul. And warm them together so that the flavours mingle and you feel that gentle flutter in your stomach of memories reawakening. It's just not awake without sherry. My great auntie Mary, who I found both awe-inspiring and terrifying, but loved deeply, passed down her own recipe for boiled fruitcake like an heirloom. All the women in the family have the recipe on paper, but there's really only ever one guardian of the recipe. Just now it's my mother's cousin, Christine, so she bakes it for our rare family events. My grief pie uses many of the same ingredients: currants, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, mace, the darkest brown sugar combined with salty butter. These are the ingredients that I most associate with loved ones I've lost and memories that I still carry with me. They're Christmas, they're Christine's fruitcake on my wedding day, they're curd tart from Betty's in Ilkley, they're Parkin or Eccles cakes from Elijah Allen's in Wensleydale, they're chutney to eat with cheese, they're mince pies and hot cross buns and simnel cake and all the food my mother cooks to remind me why I should really keep going to church. They're Folkestone pudding pie, which is really just curd tart for southerners. They're sherry and sweet biscuits in Seville. I hope I keep rediscovering what they are. In a separate bowl, mix together your other ingredients. Start with one that will enrich and heighten that first sense of uplift and heart warmth. If you started sweet, maybe contrast with salt. If you started sharp, balance with soft. Every cake I ever made began with my mother telling me to cream the butter and the sugar. Always the same heavy mixing bowl and the promise of a little taste of the caramel mixture when I was finished. When do I stop mixing? When the mixture is fluffy and lighter in colour, but my arm is burning. Then you must be doing it right. Keep going. Add to this a combination of herbs and spices. Spices can be characterised in a number of ways: cooling, earthy, floral, fruity, herbaceous, hot, nutty, piney, pungent, spicy, sulphury or woody, or more commonly as bitter, salty, sour, sweet and umami. Breathe in the aroma of your spices. Where do you find melancholy? For me, it's somewhere between woody and sweet. It's rice pudding and sitting under a tree during a summer storm. It's nutmeg and mace. These two spices come from the same plant, with nutmeg being the seed and mace the ale, the protective coating of the seed. They have markedly different but complementary flavours. What grows together goes together. Follow this with a warming herb or spice. Could be cayenne pepper or ginger. Maybe memories of minted peas or vanilla sponge pudding bring different warming memories. I find myself in the realm of mulled wine and spice biscuits. Cloves, the apothecary's friend, because of the ability to numb the senses. Cinnamon, once protected by a story of a large and dangerous bird who is said to hoard cinnamon sticks for its nest, making the collection of them a perilous pursuit. The greed of the colonising forces dismantled this poetic armour and extracted cinnamon for the pleasure of the Europeans, so now we can't imagine a Christmas time without it. Stir into these a thickening or a binding agent. This should be chosen carefully in response to all your other ingredients. It has an important role to play in bringing all these flavours, textures, memories, and emotions together. You must choose whether the mixture is firm, heavy, loose, light. Chia seeds, when let stand in water for a few minutes, develop into a jelly-like substance that behaves like an egg. Great Auntie Mary would never have approved, but times move on. Finally, add apple cider vinegar. It will cut through the sweetness of your memories, bring you back to a mindful present. Its health benefits are myriad, and your grandmother's grandmother would have told you the same thing. There's no specific or technical need for it at all in this recipe, but you should never ignore your grandmother's grandmother. Take the pan off the heat. Let it stand for a few moments whilst you prepare a blanket of comfort and nostalgia to wrap these treasures in. Grease your pie tin. Roll out pastry or make a crumble with some oats. Make mashed potato or unwrap some Kraft cheese slices. Enjoy this process. You never make grief pie for yourself. It's always a gift. And this is the wrapping. The process is for you, but the pie is for someone else. My pastry has cheese in it. My family never eat Auntie Mary's fruitcake without Wensleydale cheese. finish the pie perfectly, whatever that means to you. Put it in the oven for approximately 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how deeply you filled it. As soon as it's cooked, wrap it in a tea towel, put it on the passenger seat of your car and drive into the countryside. Find a peaceful, secluded spot, dig a hole, unwrap the pie, breathe in the aromas, place the pie in the hole and bury it. You can keep the pie dish.
Hello, thank you, Cherry, so much for that. That grief pie was just absolutely amazing. I know there's a lot of weight in the word grief, but I find it really uplifting, and it brought back lots of memories for me of cooking with my grandma and other family members. So thank you very much for that. I loved how you touched on a blanket of comfort and nostalgia, and I'm sure your great Aunt Mary would be proud of those chia seeds. So thank you so much. And hopefully later on today, we might get to see the pie cooked, or you could even send some to Newcastle. So this leads us up to the final part of today's festival, which is going to be at 5:30 with a live performance. So put it in your phones, set an alarm clock, and come back and join us for 5:30 for the rest of AJAYU Transitorio Digital Festival. Thank you.